Hey, Pete Francis with Blues Rock Review. Joining me now is Philip Sayce, who has a new album, Spirit Rising, coming out April 24th. Philip, how's it going?
Pete, it's going really well. Thank you so much for having me on board with you guys today. Blues Rock Review, it's a thrill to be here. Yeah, good to see you as well. I feel like, this is an interesting way to communicate. I love chatting in real time like this.
Yeah, likewise. We would have been seeing each other next week in Dallas, but unfortunately that got postponed. So right now that's scheduled for tentatively August 1st.
Right. Yeah, we would have been just starting to get some laundry done to head over to Dallas to perform at the guitar show there at the guitar festival. Like we hung out there last year, which was fun. But yeah, it has been postponed for later in the summer. We'll see. We'll see how things go.
Yeah, and that would have been perfect timing with your album coming out. This album's been a long road for you to get this out there. How good does it feel to finally get this new music out into the world?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It feels really great to finally have the opportunity to have this music released and to share with people. And I think the intention of the record is to, as it's called, Spirit Rising. I think it's all about trying to promote some kind of positivity, some light, some love and connection. And I really hope that at this time that it can serve as a friend or a light on the journey for anybody that listens to it. I hope it resonates with them.
Yeah, we've all been stuck at home right now. What sorts of things have you been doing with your time?
Yeah, well, I guess like the normal things, getting caught up on Netflix and HBO or whatever, Hulu, and whatever shows that I can sit through long enough. Otherwise, lots and lots of tone nerding, playing. Have been writing a lot of new stuff, which I'm really excited about. And I was just kind of stepping back from it the other day, and I was thinking, there's enough here for a lot of good sessions here. So I'm feeling really good. I know we had talked about this, I think last year in Dallas, that there was a whole bunch of music that was coming as well behind Spirit Rising. So I feel excited. It feels like a creative time.
What TV shows have you been binge watching?
Well, I can't say that I've been necessarily binge watching, like getting through a whole bunch of stuff. My wife and I started watching. I was kind of pleasantly surprised. I really liked it. I think it was something. Was it What We Do in the Shadows or something like that? It's sort of like I think that's what it's called. What We Do in the Shadows. It's like a sort of a documentary, but with supernatural creatures, like with vampires and werewolves and things. And so we're about halfway through the first season. It's funny. I've laughed a few times. Of course, I've watched finished Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was awesome. Very funny.
Great show.
Needed that. Great show. One of the funniest men in the history of the planet there, Larry David. I would say, what else have you been watching now?
Did you see his PSA about coronavirus?
I did. It was brilliant. I mean,
That was hilarious.
him. He's amazing. I mean, he can make anything and everything very, very funny. But yeah, so just trying to keep it together. I watched The Decline of Western Civilization. I hadn't seen that movie in a long time, which is part 2, The Metal Years, was pretty funny and sad all at the same time. So yeah, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. Watched a ZZ Top movie, which was cool. Hadn't seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that you've been writing some new music during this time. Has this kind of what's been going on in the world served as any sort of creative inspiration at all?
That's a great question. I would say yes, it has, certainly. And for me, the music comes from for me where I'm at as a person, and if I'm working on myself as a person and trying to evolve and be a more connected, more open, more dynamic being, learning how to be a better person, then I think that reflects directly in the music. And so I see this time as an opportunity for me personally just to take stock on things that have been going on in my life, the kinds of relationships that I've had, the kinds of whether personal or business or whatever, and really just taking a moment to see what aligns and what's in alignment with what's really in my heart. And I think making some choices to really start to work with people that that are on the same page, that are in alignment. I think really energetically, and also just at their core. And sometimes it's hard, you can't figure that out right away with someone. But for me, I think it's just something I need to be more discerning with, and I think really trying to again, take stock of the situation, these relationships that I have going on, and I think really try to learn how to hone my craft, hone myself, all of the above. And if I can take care of myself from the inside out, it's going to impact the music in a good way.
Yeah, now Spirit Rising coming out. What are you most proud of with this album?
I think really just the whole thing, getting it across the finish line, and finally having it released. There were a lot of things that that I went through in order to get the record to where it is. And I think like anything, whether you're writing a book or whether you're making a record or a movie or whatever it is that you're doing, there's going to be ups and downs through it. And I think that's what creates some of the heart connection in the music. So I feel really excited, grateful, and proud to have carried this to this point to get it across the finish line, because there were certainly some roadblocks along the way, and so it feels good to have moved around those.
What do you feel are the big inspirations behind the album?
I think gratitude. If I'm to talk about specific sort of terms, gratitude for the opportunity to be playing music in my lifetime. And to be able to share what's important to me, and through the instrument, through singing, through writing. This album as well is certainly dedicated to my dad, who is a huge part of my parents, a huge part of my love of music and the kind of music that I love, and so it's certainly dedicated to my dad. And I think especially as well at this time, as I was saying, just with what we're all going through, I hope that the intention of it being, being a record that can be a friend, on this journey during these kind of dark times. Maybe it can be a light for someone. Maybe it'll help them get through that day. That would be the most amazing. That would be the most amazing thing.
And you mentioned your dad. There's a couple songs on the album that you've dedicated to him.
That's right. Yeah, certainly. A couple songs. One of them is at the end of the record. It's called 555. There's another one on there called Once. And I think peppered all through it, there's all kinds of, all through the entire record, there's all kinds of stuff that maybe my dad would have picked up on that I'm playing in here. So he knows. He'd be like, oh yeah, that's that thing we were talking about with Eric Clapton, right? Because, we used to listen to lots of all the greats together. And so, and my dad, he'd be like, yeah, listen to this one. Whoa. And so maybe once in a while I would try to throw something in a song that he would know it, that he would feel it. Like, I could almost try playing it, and you can cut this out if it doesn't work. But
sure,
let's see,
go for it.
Like one of the things that I love to try to do sometimes in a solo, or first of all, is not think about it too much, but try to just be in the moment, play what I'm feeling. But if my dad happens to show up and tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, what you got in there?" So maybe I would try and give it a little like Clapton love or something, because that was where he came from. And so that's where a lot of inspiration comes from. So I might be playing something, like like to be in that key. Is that coming through? You can hear that okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So I might be playing, and then maybe I would get this in mind. So that kind of stuff for me would, I've been trying to reach out to say hi to my dad. And so there's a lot of that type of playing where, big bends and try to let them soar and sustain a little bit and sing, really. That was the thing. So there's some of that in there, trying to connect constantly through the music with my dad.
Yeah, that's really cool. One of your mentors, Jeff Healey, you do a cover of one of his songs on this. Tell us about that and kind of how that came about.
Yeah, so Jeff Healey, obviously one of the greats, of all times, a top shelf with a short list there, and Jeff is without a doubt on that list. And for anybody who may not have listened a lot to Jeff Healey, I suggest running to whatever place it is that whether you go to your phone or computer or a jukebox or whatever you listen to music on, go listen to some Jeff Healey. And so this is a song. A few years ago, there was an event in Toronto. It was for Jeff's 50th birthday, and it happened at Massey Hall, which is a great venue in Toronto. And I was invited to perform, which was great. And Roger Costa from the Jeff Healey family, he sent me a couple songs to maybe perform. This song being one of them, "One Foot on the Gravel." And as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I love that jam." It was sort of like right up my alley in terms of the kind of riff and really also wanting to pay respect to Jeff. I mean, Jeff being one of my biggest influences. And grateful for the opportunity and the time that I did spend with him. And the riff is big and bad and wide open. And I'll play it a little bit this year. Let's see. It's just like, let me see. All right, here goes. Something like that. I get carried away with that riff.
It's a cool riff.
I'll play for 2 hours. And look up and be like, "Oh, that's fun." So anyway, I love that kind of riff, and again, done out of respect and out of love for Jeff.
I want to ask you, did that song inspire "One Foot in the Grave," which you had on Peace Machine?
It's interesting. It may have subconsciously. I think that this song I became more like the song itself. I became more familiar with around this event for Jeff Healey's birthday a few years ago. But I do recall seeing in the studio, the Jeff Healey studio was called Forte Records, and they would have a storage room where there'd be walls of 2-inch tape at that time because it was a studio built in there. And I remember seeing "One Foot on the Gravel" or "One Foot on the Grave" or something on some of those, "See the Light," all these songs. So it may have stuck in my mind in some way, but the songs are pretty different. I mean, they're really, it's a different approach. However, I was thinking about it in a live setting to try to sync the two up, right? So you can get this kind of thing going where you got that riff. You'd be like. Everybody goes, Anyway, something like that. You could sync them up live and it'd be really cool. Then it would be a 3-hour song.
I kind of looked at it like it was like a sequel almost.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I'll tell you. Sure. Let's call it a sequel.
Another track I wanted to ask you about was "Oh My," because that track seemed a little different from other music you've released to this point.
Yeah, it's a song. "Oh My" is a song that I wrote with a super talented writer here in Los Angeles named Brad Hooks. And we actually wrote a few songs that we're really excited about. Some of those may come a little bit later. But "Oh My" is really, it's a love song. It's a chord progression that I'd had for quite a long time, and was like, what am I going to do with this? What do I want to do with it? And Brad was just a real pleasure to sit down and write a really cool love song, powerful love song. But I think the way that it's treated in that version is very compact. It's very digestible, versus where if I'm sitting in my living room like today, or hopefully at some point in the next couple of years, if we can get out and play again, I might approach it more like this, like a. Might take it a little bit more into a softer type territory and try and do that because ultimately it's a blues song, but the way that we approached it has a big chorus and but at its roots it's a blues song in disguise.
Another track I want to ask you about, which people haven't heard as of us doing this interview, is "Awful Dreams," which is another cover. Tell us about that track, because that was a really kind of cool, spooky vibe that it has.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. So "Awful Dreams" is a song by the incredible Lightnin' Hopkins. one of the all-time great bluesmen, blues musicians. And, I've been doing some work with Michael Nielsen, who him and I have been friends for years. We worked together on the Peace Machine record, amongst other things. And we did we do two songs for this record where Michael produced them. One of them was Give Me Time, and the second one is this one by Lightning Hopkins, Awful Dreams. And it was something that just came up with Michael and I working together. And I think he may have raised it as a song to listen to and perhaps to look at. And so we spent some time with it, tried some different treatments. And I think Michael, his vision and his talent as a producer and as a musician is certainly on point on this track. Yeah, it's a pleasure to work with him on it. It is. It's super spooky. The only thing I think that I brought onto that track was my own National Resonator guitar. The rest was like Michael's Les Paul, and we used some of his amps. So it was a little bit different, some different sounds and things. It was really fun.
Kind of looking at the album as a whole, is there one particular track that really kind of grabs you or you're specifically really proud of?
Yeah, thanks for asking. What comes to mind is the song Spirit, which is I guess the first single off the record, and just something about the lyric is really straight up the middle, and I think it's about backstabbers and clowns. It's about what I was referring to earlier in terms of, what kind of relationships, who am I aligning myself with? And so really it's a song about personal power, especially during a time where you're feeling like, you're just feeling overwhelmed. And that's for me where I was writing that song from, a place of feeling overwhelmed, wanting to let something out. When someone's telling you what you have to be or who you have to be or what you can or can't do constantly, especially from a creative point. For me, it's very personal. It's very necessary. And so, when someone tells you that what you're doing is not good and you need to totally change who you are, it can be painful, and I look at that enough already. I spend a lot of time looking at how I can get better. And if somebody comes and really shares some honest feedback, and it's something that I can use to improve myself or my art or my craft, I'm all about constructive feedback and good friends that help you with that. That's great. So I think the song Spirit is really about it's all in there. It's all in there. You can't take me, you won't break me, because I am a spirit. And I think that's a really powerful line. I am a spirit. Something to remember, especially at this time.
Absolutely. So being at home, obviously, this is a really difficult time for everybody, difficult time for musicians. How are you kind of rolling with the changes right now?
Yeah, I think what I'm aware of is, or what I'm trying to do is observe myself and try to observe in what ways am I feeling more activated around, I guess really just what ways am I feeling activated about what's currently happening. Am I watching the news? What am I taking out of watching the news? And why am I so upset after I watch that? Is this really helping me? Is this giving me any new information? No, it's not really, because no one really knows anything. So again, a lot of what they think it might be or what you should do. But so again, I think trying to not get too wrapped up in the news cycle, because I am looking to the news for updates or where are we, is there any new news, and constantly feels like it just gets more confusing. So from the top down. And I think it inspires people to make decisions that are probably not in their own best interest, let alone anybody else. So yeah, I think trying not to get too wrapped up into that cycle. And again, just to go back to what I was saying earlier, I think just to take the time to really work on myself, refine myself from the inside out.
Yeah, and this is a time now where musicians are off the road, so everyone's kind of having to adapt to that. And a lot of people are doing Facebook Lives. You've been using Facebook Live. You've been kind of talking about and going through some different songs on the album. How's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been really fun. I feel so pleased that, people tune in or, they'll ask a question, comment, things like that. It means a lot that people would take their time to come hang out and, just keep it casual. there's things I really do like about it. I like the casual kind of feel of it all. I do feel though that it's not a substitute for in-person performance. It's not. I'm not at that place with it yet. I really think that there's something, even if it's, Pete, if it's just you and me in a room together, playing some music or listening to music, that would be a different experience for me, say, than us doing it through this platform, which is also, it's great, but it's not quite the same.
It's not the same, no.
Especially for someone I can imagine like yourself who goes to hundreds of shows, if not thousands of shows all the time, and it's a big part of what you do. And so it must be a challenging update for you and your team.
Well, it's definitely a change of pace because, like we were talking about earlier, we had the Dallas International Guitar Festival coming up. So we were going to go there, get tons of interviews, which is a fantastic festival if you've never been there. But again, we'll see if that happens. Tentatively, it's first week of August.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Maybe, you know what? Who knows, Pete? Maybe some magic happens and someone goes, oh, it's Mountain Dew. Who knew that Mountain Dew was going to save the world? I don't know.
If only Mountain Dew could save the world.
If only Mountain Dew. But, we don't know. And I think that's, it would be nice to see you in August. I don't know if we're holding our breath, but we can certainly aim for it. And of course, it's a great festival. Great people run it. It was such a thrill to be there last year. Such cool players. I got to meet Eric Johnson and Eric Gales was there, and Sonny Landreth was there. And everywhere you turn, there were
Kingfish was there. He was awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome. He's always awesome. So it was a really fun time.
So, kind of looking at everything right now, what would you say, once this is all over with, what's the thing you're looking forward to most?
And when you say when this is all over with, you mean with the coronavirus situation?
Yes, the coronavirus situation and everyone staying at home.
Yeah, not our current conversation. Not this conversation. No, I'm just teasing. No, I think, again, just to go back to that point, what am I looking forward to? I'm actually not looking forward to getting back to the way that it was. I find that that's very, I think that seems too easy. It seems like, some things were really, really great, the way things are going. Some things were really, really not great and not okay. Particularly for as far as I'm concerned, from a social standpoint, equality standpoint, and we can get into that another day. But I really feel like this rush to get back to this normalcy is it's concerning to me. I don't know if that's in alignment with where I want to go and how I want to use this or find the silver lining in this to move forward. So, if there's an opportunity to go to a hockey game again, I would love that. If there's an opportunity to play some, play live shows, I would welcome the opportunity and would love that. And I think really just to connect with people, connect with friends and family and loved ones. I was saying with my wife yesterday, we were out for a walk, and it's starting to feel like a long time now since I've seen some people, was it 6 weeks or whatever. And it's like being on the road for that long. And then you kind of I've been away for a while. You come back and you see, your friends for the first time in a couple of months. It's always great, but it starts to feel like a long time. And so, I look forward to just kind of putting a hug on people that I care about. If we're allowed to do that, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe a hug, a major 6-foot hug. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do it. Yeah.
What do you think the silver lining could possibly be? What good do you think can come out of this situation?
I think there's a lot of good that can come out of this. I think being present in this moment, that things are fucking terrifying, is honest and fair and real in this moment. And I think that there's also great, you're asking me personally, my feeling on it. And again, I can't speak for anyone else, but there's a great opportunity to really, again, to look into these systems that have been set up for a really long time that really benefit some people, a very small percentage of the population. I think that I mean, I think it's such a wide open slate right now for the way that we could update on what we've learned, the things that, we're really truly honest with ourselves. I'm hopeful that there will be more room for that from the top down. And from the top down, I mean, politically from the top down, or big business. Again, it's going to be hard to get people to pull their nails and their talons out of a system that has been there, that has provided them riches for forever and a day. And, I guess, is there more room for kindness? Is there more room for compassion for ourselves and for each other? And really around the concept of equality. And I think that this, in a lot of ways, has really wiped the playing field. It's even. It mowed it right down. So yeah, I hope that there is an opportunity for some self-exploration for not only myself, but for all of us, that we can find a way to accept ourselves and one another. I think there's a lot of room that we could really explore that and develop that.
All right, Philip, Spirit Rising coming out April 24th. Anything else you want to add about the album?
Just that, it comes from a real place of love. It's been a long time coming, and there's a lot more music following behind this, but we need your help, because right now there's no touring. It's really just, through someone at times yourself, Pete, at Blues Rock Review, to help us get the word out about the music. And I hope it's a friend for you during these dark times.
Sounds awesome. Well, Philip, congratulations on the new album. I know it's been a long time coming, and very excited for that album to come out. Thanks for your time today.
Oh my gosh, Pete, thank you as always for your time and for your support, and stay safe, and we'll be seeing you in person soon.